I'd like to bring it maybe to, well, not necessarily directly to Ireland, but it's, you know, the Ireland-Egypt thing still, but more focused on Ireland maybe. So maybe I just want to start this out by, you know, asking the question, why do we have the harp of King David as, you know, our government seal?
Yes. Yeah.
It's in the Dáil. It's on, you know, any official letters you get. So it's an interesting symbol to have, you know, on our flag. You know.
Yeah, the only country in the world, right, that has it.
A musical instrument. Well, is there another country? I'm not sure. But anyway. So who is David? Who is King David? And why is his harp in Ireland? Why is...
Exactly.
So, so in the previous podcast, we were talking about Akhenaten. We talked about how Akhenaten was a master in direct line from creator consciousness.
The lifeline.
And teaching this wisdom as a mystery school master in the form of, as we said, how higher dimensional information is encoded, which is in geometry and symbols. So the blueprint for what we call the 3D reality is encoded for all matter, all physical matter, everything. It's all encoded. All language, as we said before, is all encoded in the geometry, the flower life geometry. And we said that it was handed down from the original Atlantean tribes who went into Egypt and established the mounds, if you remember. The mounds, as I said, like the ones at Newgrange, they were called the Shemshu Hor. And they were there at the time of Zeb Tepi. And as I mentioned, their story is told in the Edfu building texts. So I talked about the lineage of Akhenaten and his great-great-grandfather Thutmose III. And I said Thutmose III unified the mystery schools. Because by the time Thutmose III came along, this wisdom had been corrupted. The Amun priests had become corrupted. And they were confusing the information, leaving his pieces out, changing timelines, changing calendars, or the introduction of calendars. There was many ways they did it. So we're talking about the lineage that originally came from Atlantis, and I said the centre of Atlantis of learning was Ireland. I'm saying that those are the people that went into Egypt, established Egypt itself. The wisdom became corrupt at a certain time, and Thutmose III was the one who brought it back to its original. He began the process. So his great-grandson, there could be another great in there as well, is Akhenaten, as I mentioned. So who is Thutmose III? So we talked earlier as well about, you know, the Israelites in the previous podcast. And who actually were they? As I said, they were Bedouin tribes, you know, and in the Bible, which is where we get all this, you know, information from, is, I know there's other sources, but what I'm saying is, as they change timelines, they also change names.
Right.
So who are the Israelites?
Yeah.
Who are those people? So I'm saying it's the Irish people, the ancient Irish. And to kind of make that point, if you look at Hebrew, the language Hebrew, and you look at Gaelic, they're almost identical.
In what way?
In all ways, the language of Hebrew and Gaelic are almost identical languages. There's some words that are the same.
Oh, yeah.
In Hebrew and Gaelic.
Wow.
So Gaelic would be the original language, which Hebrew, you know,
originated from.
Wow.
So,
for example, Thutmose III. Thutmose III is the biblical King David. Again, it's like when I said Akhenaten and Moses. It doesn't sound, when you say it immediately. But in ancient Egypt, for example, the name of Thutmose would have been written hieroglyphically. Yeah. So it would have been T-U-T, Tut. Yeah. But when you translate the name Tut into Hebrew, the T becomes a D in Hebrew when translated from ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic inscription, translated into Hebrew language. T-U-T becomes D-U-D. And D-U-D is dude, or Daoud, or David.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that makes so much
So,
sense of what it would be distorted.
the symbol on the flag in Ireland,
Yes.
the symbol on all the government documents, the symbol in the doll is the symbol of Thutmose III, King David.
Wow, the harp.
Interesting, isn't it?
Is it because it belonged to him? Was there a story?
Well, there's, you see, the
I don't know the Bible.
harp encodes a whole lot of information.
Yeah, especially for Ireland.
So, for example, you know,
Celebrating
plucking the
Egypt.
strings of the harp
Yeah.
Yeah.
is, metaphorically speaking, plucking the strings of the net that we spoke about.
And there's our introduction theme of the podcast is the octaves of creation and the harp. Just pointing that out.
Very good, Cheryl. Thank you. So, I mean, apart from that, it
Yeah,
encodes a
it's-
lot more
it's
information than that.
absolutely, yeah,
and,
yeah.
you know, obviously that would be nearly a podcast in itself.
Good one.
So, you know, I'm just trying to make something that is kind of complicated. You know?
Yeah.
Trying to follow this lineage. You know, it gets confusing.
Yeah, but how they are related in the symbols,
Mm-hmm.
they still resonate today, like.
You know, lots of people don't understand how Egypt and Ireland are connected. And there's many people, you know, there's a few voices
Yeah.
talking from Ireland today.
Yeah.
You know. And I don't see any of them, you know, who are going to this level.
Yeah.
And in fact, I know some of them are saying that the idea of a connection to Egypt in Ireland is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Which is completely wrong because when you're here, you can.
Well, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you
Yeah.
know,
Well, they create their own reality, so
it
good
is
for
an
them.
opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, I'm telling you the situation, and that is that Thutmose III is David. So, you know, and as I mentioned earlier, the daughter of Akhenaten and the sister of Tutankhaten or Tutankhamun, and that will become clearer, is buried in County Kerry. Her name was Mary Aten, and if you mentioned, I said Mary,
MERI.
Yeah, in the
is
last
to do
podcast,
with the
yeah.
female lineage of this wisdom.
Yeah.
So
Mary means beloved one, right?
the beloved one.
But also a female initiate.
But it's a title of a female initiate, like the mother of Jesus was Mary.
Yeah, and the equivalent in the male would be is it Moses? Yeah.
Well, not
Or is that a
necessarily.
different-
Moses is a
different
title, as I
yeah.
mentioned.
Oh, okay.
But it also means to be drawn out, like of the water.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, we discussed earlier about the idea of the pharaoh, and they had to marry the daughter of the previous
Yeah.
pharaoh,
Yeah.
because from the Atlantean all the way up to the time of the M1 priesthood and it becoming really corrupt, the power, if you want to say, for want of better words, was handed down through the female line. So to become a pharaoh, you had to marry the female. The word per-a, which is where the word pharaoh comes from. Per-a, per is house. Per-a means the house of the high queen. That's where the word pharaoh comes from.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So it's not
Input
male,
in the
it's not
language.
referring to a male.
Yeah.
Pharaoh. It's per-a, the house of the queen.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah.
And this is also where the fall, if you like, happened. We mentioned the fall happened through going from communicating through geometry, symbols, pictograms, which is all feminine energy,
Yeah.
yeah, into the written language as we know today, which is all logic.
Yeah.
It's all
Yes.
using your left brain,
Yeah.
your masculine. So the fall is really about the fall from the bicameral, which is the two,
Yeah. The two.
Yeah.
the hemisync,
Yeah.
two energies perfectly in balance, we have a cat in the background here. Two energies perfectly in balance. Sekhmet has joined us in the podcast.
Yes.
Not surprising. Two energies perfectly in balance. So we went from that, and the fall was into the male.
Yes.
And again, I'm not talking about men. I'm talking about male energy, logic.
Yes.
You know. So anyway, I don't want to get too much off track. So, what I'm trying to show is the complete circle or the complete cycle from ancient Ireland, Atlantis, if you like, where Ireland was. I said it was a worldwide civilization, but with a centre of learning in Ireland. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were the ones who went into Egypt. Yeah. And I'm trying to show now how they came back again to their homeland, which was Ireland, and how they left their symbols.
Yeah.
So the harp
for the generations to discover
is the harp of Thutmose III, King David.
Yeah.
Okay. So we would say then Scota been buried in Kerry. She's the same family. She's the same lineage. She's the same lineage of Akhenaten. She's Akhenaten's daughter.
Yeah.
Tutankhaten is Akhenaten's son.
Yeah.
So that means Scota and Tutankhaten are brother and sister.
Yeah.
So this family has come to Ireland. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So we have the symbol of David. And then, you know, if you want to look at, for example, Tara. Yeah, the hill of Tara.
Yeah.
So Tara is Tamar. We know the name of Tara is Tamar.
Yeah.
It's after Tamar Tefi.
Yeah.
Teya Tefi.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Do you remember I said the mother of Akhenaten was called Tai?
Yes.
Yeah, Queen
You can
Ty.
say Teya as well.
I thought that, when we were discussing it.
Yeah, so it's the
The
same
last
lineage,
podcast.
the same family. And I told you that Amenhotep III was the father of Akhenaten.
Yes.
Okay. So when we come to the Irish mythology, it says that Teya Tefi came into Ireland with the biblical prophet Jeremiah. And she brought into Ireland the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes.
Now, what was contained in the Ark of the Covenant? The Ark of the Covenant contained the law of Moses.
The
Well,
universal
the
law.
law of one.
You know, it said that the Ark of the Covenant contained the original tablets that Moses brought down.
That the people weren't ready for.
So if we change Moses to Akhenaten,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's his mother then, yeah?
Okay, so I'll tie it in for you, okay?
Right? Yeah.
This is, I know, it can be confusing. So what I'm saying is, Teya Tefi came into Ireland, and the story is told that she came in with the biblical prophet Jeremiah into Ireland, and with her she brought the Ark of the Covenant. And in the Ark of the Covenant was placed the tablets that Moses, aka Akhenaten, had brought down to the people. And do you remember I said the original knowledge he was bringing down was the entirety of the book of Coming Forth by Light.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But when he saw the people were still really too much in a low consciousness,
Yeah.
and he knew that if they know this, they'll just use it to further. So
Further that
yeah.
energy.
So what he did was, he gave parts of it. So the 10 Commandments really evolve from the book of Coming Forth by Light, where the initiate, and we talked about this before, has to recite the 42 negative confessions. Okay, so if you read the 42 negative confessions, you'll see that that's where the 10 Commandments come from.
Yeah.
And that's what Moses brought down, aka Akhenaten. Okay? And the 42 negative confessions are only recited after death. The book of Coming Forth by Light is for the soul that has left the body. Yeah? But you see, the mystery schools were to teach the student to learn to die while alive. In other words, ascension, remember? Okay, so remember I mentioned they're all characters in the Bible?
Yeah.
But they were given different names in the Bible. Yeah.
Because it was the...
And the
distortion.
timeline of when they existed was changed as well. Okay?
Definitely, they mess with the timelines.
So, Amenhotep III was the father of Akhenaten, aka Moses.
Yes.
Now, I gave you kind of a small piece of evidence as to how Thutmose III was King David. But also, if you read what it actually, in the walls of Karnak Temple, it talks about the Battle of Kadesh and how Thutmose III went out and, he was supposed to be a great... he extended the borders of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great military leader, if you know what I mean. And when I say military, you're going to think, well, he was a bad guy. This is part of the story of Thutmose III.
Mm-hmm.
He was a great military leader, and he expanded the borders of Egypt beyond what they had been.
Mm-hmm.
So all the things that are attributed to King David in the Bible, the amazing empire he established and all this kind of thing, is what Thutmose III actually did.
In Egypt.
In Egypt, yeah. In the 18th dynasty. Wow. Okay? And part of the story is that he had a divine intervention. Because I said he was military, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And leading this military campaign to extend the borders of Egypt.
Yeah.
But he had an awakening, if you'd like to say. Yeah? Don't forget, Ascended Masters also have to incarnate and,
Absolutely, they're
remember who they are.
They have to go do their shopping.
So, yeah, exactly. So, he, and as well underneath his military so-called campaign,
Yeah.
he could have had a very different intention of why he was doing this.
Yeah.
To what we've been told, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
We've been told he was military, and some people compare him to Napoleon. So it kind of makes you think he was a bit like aggressive maybe or something like that. But, again, that's all...
We don't know.
A narrative, like a structure.
Well, it's the Tower of Babel, confusion.
That's
Exactly.
it, Tower of Babel.
Confuse. So all the things that's attributed to King David in the Bible, Thutmose III actually did, apart from the evidence I gave you about his name. And if anybody wants to look into a lot more, you could read Ahmed Osman. He goes into it like a lot in quite detail as well. So so again, if we look at Amenhotep III, who was the father of Akhenaten, and we look in the Bible at the character called King Solomon,
Yeah.
and we look at all the things that are attributed to King Solomon, Amenhotep III did.
So he was both. Is
So this is what I'm saying.
Intervention.
Amenhotep III's great grandfather was Thutmose III.
Oh, sorry, no, yeah.
King David.
Yeah.
Okay. Come down to Amenhotep III.
Yeah.
Who was King David's great grandson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amenhotep III was the biblical Solomon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amenhotep III was the father of Akhenaten.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at King David,
Mm-hmm.
Solomon, and Moses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Thutmose III, King David. Amenhotep III,
Mm-hmm.
Solomon. Akhenaten, who was Amenhotep IV, Moses.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
and he's Moses.
Now it says Jesus was in the lineage of King David.
Well,
Right, exactly, from
yeah.
the house of David. Yeah.
From the house of David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus was from the house of
Bethlehem,
David.
yep, that's why I go there.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. You see, you have to remember, back in the time that we're talking about, there was no place called Jerusalem or
Exactly.
Bethlehem or any of these places.
Yeah.
It was Egypt.
It was all Egypt.
Yeah.
It was Egypt. Jerusalem was actually called the City of David because Thutmose III. Remember I told you what's told on the walls of Karnak?
Yes.
How Thutmose III went into Kadesh.
Yeah.
What's called Jerusalem today
Uh-huh.
was known as Kadesh
Oh.
back in the time of Thutmose III.
Kadesh.
Kadesh is where Jerusalem is today.
Oh my God, that's interesting.
So it was also called the City of David
Well.
because Thutmose III came there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thutmose III was David.
Whoa.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude.
So let's get back to Tamar. Tamar
Yeah, gosh.
came into Ireland with the biblical prophets, so we're told,
Yes.
bringing in the Ark of the Covenant and the tablets of Moses
Yeah.
contained inside. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is Tamar was the sister of Akhenaten.
So not even Taya. Or
Yes,
Tai.
her name was, she had, you see, this is to confuse
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
These people all had a couple of different names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Tamar is also called Taya.
Mm-hmm.
Tamar
So
is
Taya
also
Tefi.
called Taya Tefi.
Mm-hmm.
Or Tamar Tefi.
Tamar Tefi, yeah.
Yeah. So she was the daughter of Amenhotep III, Solomon,
Mm.
Right.
Akhenaten's sister.
Akhenaten's sister.
Okay.
Exactly. Amenhotep III had different names. One of his names was Edidiah or Zedekiah.
Oh, Zedekiah.
So it says, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the Edikiah. It's begins with an I. It's like Edidiah or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it's also Zedekiah. So when you read it says Tamar was the last daughter of the king of Jerusalem before Nebuchadnezzar came in
Oh, yeah.
and took them into
That's the
slavery into
Babylonians.
Babylon.
Yeah.
Babylon's conquered Jerusalem and took over the temple and took all the Jews back to Babylon to work for them as slaves, supposedly. And black magic.
So Tamar was the daughter of King Zedekiah.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King Zedekiah, Amenhotep III, and Solomon are the same people.
Whoa.
So Tamar is the daughter of Amenhotep III. Mm-hmm. And Queen Tai, remember? Taya?
Yeah.
Taya. She's the same name as her mother.
Ah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what am I trying to say to you here? Who are the Israelites? Okay?
Yeah.
I've already asked that question, and I've already said the Israelites were the ancient Atlantean tribes that came into Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So they were called in the Bible the Israelites.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that they were the Irish. They were the Irish.
Israelites and the...
They were the Irish.
Yeah.
The Aparu, the Iparu, the Irish. Okay? Okay? So the
Yeah.
story of the Israelites in Egypt is the story of the Irish in Egypt.
Yes.
All right?
Wow.
So it says that the father of the Israelite tribes
Yeah.
is Abraham
Yes.
and Sarah. Yeah? Abraham and Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Abraham and Sarah were the first to come into Egypt of the Israelite tribes. Okay? Abraham was married to Sarah. Okay? And they had been married a long time, but up to this time they had never had children. Sarah was supposed to be really beautiful. And when they went into Egypt, Abraham said to his wife Sarah, "Don't tell the people in Egypt that you're my wife, because the Pharaoh might want you and he might kill me to get you.
Yeah.
So say you're my sister."
Yeah.
So they said they were brother and sister. So the Pharaoh at the time was Thutmose III,
Yeah.
King David.
Yes.
So because she was beautiful and blah, 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 he did exactly that. He fancied her and, and
Made
took
a
her as
move.
his wife. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he believed she was Abraham's sister, not his wife. Because, remember I told you the 14 negative confessions that they had to take?
Yeah.
They had to, so to be a pharaoh, they would have to uphold, well, they were supposed to uphold this, but this is how the fall started happening because they stopped upholding all of this. But they would have to uphold the 42 negative confessions,
Yeah.
which, and one of them states, "I have never coveted another man's wife." So that was totally against
Order.
the Egyptian pharaoh's way of being.
Yeah.
That was extremely not, you can't do that. So when Thutmose III found out that Sarah was actually Abraham's wife and not his sister,
Yes.
he said, "Why did you lie to me?
Yeah.
Take your wife back and be gone out of Egypt."
Uh-oh.
So when so when Sarah and Abraham left, Sarah suddenly found that she was pregnant.
Oh.
After being with Abraham for ages and not having a child.
So it was the Pharaoh's baby, obviously.
Now here's where it all starts. So it tells you in the Bible that Abraham had a son called Isaac. Mm-hmm. And do you remember? Well, maybe not, but anyway. He was going to sacrifice his son.
Oh, yeah.
And God told him, "No, don't do that." Remember?
Yeah.
So he didn't. Why was he going to sacrifice his own son?
Because.
It wasn't his son. It was the son of Thutmose III.
Oh, wow.
Okay?
So he was trying to eliminate.
Okay, so the Israelite tribes, aka the Irish tribes, aka the Atlantean tribes, okay? The Israelite tribes and the Egyptian tribes are related.
Yeah.
They're the same. From Thutmose III on, they're the same
connected.
family. Okay?
Yeah.
Now remember I told you Amenhotep III, Solomon, who was the father of Akhenaten. I know this is confusing, but if you just
Hang in
follow.
there.
I'm with you.
Amenhotep III married the daughter of Yoya, Joseph,
Yeah.
who came from what they would call the Israelite tribes, the Hebrews.
Oh.
The Hebrews.
Yes.
Now, why did an Egyptian, man, go against all the rules of making the previous pharaoh's daughter, in order to become pharaoh, his royal wife?
Yeah.
He didn't do that. He went against the tradition of the whole of ancient Egypt and married somebody who was not the daughter of the previous pharaoh.
Yeah.
Now, he did marry the daughter of the previous pharaoh so he could become pharaoh, but he didn't make her his great royal wife.
Uh-huh.
Who he made his great royal wife was Taya, or Tai.
Yeah.
She was of the family that came from Abraham, or that apparently came from Abraham, because remember, Isaac was not actually Abraham's son. Isaac was Thutmose III's son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole of the Israelite tribes are descended from Thutmose III.
Yeah.
Joseph of the Bible,
Yeah.
you know, and his Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Mm-hmm.
He's called Yoya,
Yeah.
in Egypt. Yoya.
Yeah.
He was, okay, it's a bit long to get into him as well, but he was the one who had the dream of the 7 fat cows and the 7 skinny cows. No, he didn't have the dream, sorry, the Pharaoh had the dream, and he interpreted the Pharaoh's dream.
Mm-hmm.
And he told the Pharaoh that it meant there would be 7 years of famine. No, sorry, 7 years of plenty.
Mm-hmm.
And then 7 years of famine. The 7 fat cows symbolised 7 years of plenty. The 7 skinny cows symbolised 7 years of famine.
Mm-hmm.
So, Joseph, who could interpret dreams, all of this is significant, okay?
Yeah.
Who could interpret dreams, told the Pharaoh,
Yeah.
okay, who at that time was actually Thutmose IV, the dreamer Pharaoh, who the dream stela between the paws of the Sphinx
Yes.
at Giza
Yes.
was erected because he fell asleep and had a dream that he would become Pharaoh if he cleared the sand from the Sphinx. That's Thutmose IV, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to confuse the waters too much, but
Yeah.
Thutmose IV is in the same lineage as Akhenaten,
Yeah.
as Thutmose III,
Yeah.
you know. So, so it was.
And that's after Thutmose III, so he's like after the.
He came after Thutmose III.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Part of the other lineage then.
yeah, he's that same lineage. So what we're looking at is a lineage that came from Thutmose III that were Egyptian,
Yeah.
and a lineage that came from Thutmose III that were Israelite.
So 2 separate ones, really?
Yes,
Wow.
because remember Thutmose IV was his son,
That's right. Yeah.
but so was Isaac.
Yeah, but
So
from a
2
different one.
streams came from the same person.
Yeah.
Thutmose III, King David.
Yeah.
I told you the Israelites are the Irish. Why is King David's symbol here?
Because it was.
We are the stream
lineage.
of his other part
Yeah.
of his family.
Oh.
Now,
So we are from.
Joseph and Yoya,
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah.
The daughter of Yoya, Joseph, the one who could interpret the dreams. You see, why he became as well.
Yeah.
He told the Pharaoh, save food in the 7 years. Yeah?
Yes.
So that when the 7 years of famine come, you'll have food.
Right.
Yeah.
So in that way, Egypt became the breadbasket of the world. When everywhere else was starving to death, they had food.
Yeah.
Remember I pointed out on one of the journeys, Joseph's granaries?
That's it.
Yes, I
They say
In
it's
the
the granaries
Ramesseum.
of Joseph. In Luxor, just
So
where
when
we
you're
live.
talking about Joseph And his Technicolor Dreamcoat, as everyone knows from the Broadway musical, that was what a Olam Fadla, a high druid, would wear. He would wear
Exactly.
a rainbow-colored cloak.
So that is,
The bards.
that's the point.
bards.
Who was Jeremiah?
That's it.
You know,
Jeremiah Joseph, right?
he became the Olam,
That's it, the Olam Fadla.
you know. And he is buried,
the
as
high
we know, at Lough
At
currently
Lough
at Lough So
And
that- so they
Jeremiah
say
is the one who came with
Tamar
Tamar.
Tefi. Tamar Tefi.
Tamar Tefi.
Taya and
Tefi.
Tamar are the same
Yeah,
person.
same person.
Yeah.
But like,
And they're from the same family as Scota.
Yeah,
yeah.
They're
exactly.
sisters.
Yeah. Because
because they always said we're going to go home to the west.
No, sorry.
no, yeah,
Taya
wait.
Tefi. Tamar is the aunt
The aunt,
Of
that's
Scota.
it. Yes.
of Scota. Yes, sorry.
yeah, 'cause she's
the aunt
a-
of
she's
Scota
Akhenaten's
and the aunt of
sister.
Tutankhamun.
But then who's
Akhenaten's
Jeremiah?
sister.
Then you were just saying who's Jeremiah?
Well, okay, that's a different. I don't
Go
want
back,
to go. I
go
don't want to go.
back, backtrack.
I don't want to go off topic too much. So
No, I want to know like the.
okay, so where was I? Let's stay with Joseph for a minute.
Yeah.
Joseph's daughter was Tai or Taya, and she married Amenhotep III, who's Solomon, who produced Akhenaten, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also had a lot of other daughters as well. Amenhotep III and Tai had other daughters. They had a number of other daughters as well, and one of them was Tamar. She's the one who came into Ireland.
Yeah, Tamar.
Yeah.
To Tara.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, meanwhile, you have what's called the Israelite tribes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Parallel.
Exactly. But don't forget, they come from the same father, Thutmose III, King David. Yeah. So meanwhile, you have the Israelite tribes. Now,
And the
then you have the story. Okay.
just want to say with the mother
Abraham-
of them is Sarah. Yeah.
Yes, the mother is Sarah,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
But it says in the Bible the father of Isaac is Abraham. I'm saying the father of Isaac is Thutmose III.
Because it's the same person.
No, because do you remember?
Yeah.
Remember I said,
Yeah.
Those three.
remember I said
is the father.
Thutmose III married Sarah,
Yes.
not realizing that she was actually Abraham's wife.
That's
Yeah.
right.
When
He
they
made
came
her
into
lie.
Egypt.
He made her lie to the
Abraham and Sarah were the first two of the so-called Israelite tribes that come in to Egypt. Yeah,
Yes,
I know it
yeah.
is confusing. So, I'll give it down to you. Abraham is apparently, unless you know that he's not, the father of the Israelite tribes. So Abraham had Isaac. Isaac had Jacob. Jacob is the one who had the dream of the ladder, going up the ladder, meeting God, wrestling with
Stairway
God,
to heaven.
coming back down. His name was changed, and he became known as Israel.
That's right.
Okay,
Yes.
his sons. He had 12 sons. Jacob had 12 sons. Jacob's sons became the 12 tribes of Israel. Now let's go back again.
Go back again.
Abraham is the so-called father of the Israelite tribes. I'm saying it's Thutmose III, King David.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Abraham, I'm saying Thutmose III, was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob had the 12 sons, which became the 12 tribes of Israel. One of those sons was Joseph,
Right.
the one who interpreted the Pharaoh's dream. Yoya. Yeah? Joseph's daughter was Taya. She married Amenhotep III, Solomon.
That's right.
Together they produced Akhenaten, but they also produced Tamar, Taya, same as her mother's name. Yeah? Now, why did Amenhotep III, against all of ancient Egyptian culture, history, against the Amun priesthood, because this is why they were all so angry with Akhenaten and with Amenhotep III, Solomon. Because he went against all the tradition of making somebody who was not an Egyptian and who was not the daughter of the previous pharaoh his great royal wife. Why did he do that? Because he knew that Tai, who was Joseph's daughter, he knew that they were the same family.
Yeah, exactly. So he's
marrying her-
reuniting the families.
By
again.
marrying Queen Tai or Queen Taya, he reunified
Yeah.
the two branches of Thutmose III's family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
King David's family.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew that it was Tutmos III, but
Okay.
he knew.
So
So he was mending
Tamar comes into
a branch
Egypt,
that broke.
right?
Yeah.
Remember? Tamar comes into Egypt,
Yeah.
carrying the Ark of the Covenant.
When you say Egypt, you mean Ireland, actually?
Sorry, Ireland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Tamar comes into Ireland carrying the Ark of the Covenant,
Whatever that
which was the law.
Oh, the law of one, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She brings the law of one
yeah.
to Tara.
That her brother Akhenaten, a.k.a. Moses, brought down from apparently Mount Sinai.
Right.
But that's a different thing
That's
as well.
another story.
Well, Mount Sinai anyway, but sure. I told you the whole thing is confused. To make you
Exactly,
confused.
yeah,
Okay.
That's it.
So,
Just so you can dismiss it.
what's the thing that happened when sorry, she also brought the Stone of Destiny.
Yeah, the Stone of Destiny.
I nearly forgot that.
Oh, big point.
The Leah Fall, yeah.
Ah, and if you go to Tara, you know.
Well, this, we all know about the so-called Leah Fall at Tara. Yeah. It's anyway, that's another big long story.
I know,
as well.
yeah.
Ireland was known as Inish Fall, which is the island of destiny.
Right.
Yeah.
And they brought the Stone of Destiny. Now, what is the Stone of Destiny? What is this Leah Fall? What is the Stone of Destiny? Okay, remember I said that Jacob,
Yeah.
who is the son of Isaac, who is the son of not Abraham but Thutmose III.
Yes.
Jacob laid his head on a stone, remember, and he had a dream, Jacob's ladder.
Yes.
And the dream was that he went up an angel came, and he went up the 7-run ladder.
Yes.
Yeah. He met with God, wrestled, came back down the ladder, and when he came back down the ladder, and all this happened in a place called Peniel.
Yeah.
Oh.
Peniel.
was
I'm
it-
just pointing at my third eye here,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way. Peniel. All this wrestling that Jacob had with God happened in a place called Peniel.
Yeah.
Pineal.
Yes.
Okay.
Some third eyes.
Now, when he came down after wrestling with God, and he came down the ladder, God said to him, Jacob, from now on, your name will be known as Israel. He had 12 sons. They became the 12 tribes of Israel. Yeah?
Yeah.
They all stem from Thutmose III, King David. The stone that Jacob laid his head on was the stone that Tehatefi, Tamar, brought to Tara. The original stone. I'm not saying the one that's there today.
Right. The original.
The stone that's standing, it's been called the Leah Fall today, was once stood in front of the mound of hostages.
Yes, exactly. At the door.
That's not the real stone.
No.
That's not the Leah Fall. That stone that's on the mound today at Tara originally stood in front of the mound of hostages. And they moved it from the mound of hostages to where it is now.
Yeah.
Okay? But the real Leah Fall that Tehatefi brought in was the stone that Jacob laid his head on and had the dream. Now, what's a stone that you lay your head on? Only a headstone. A headstone. What's a headstone about? When do you get a headstone?
When you die.
When you die. So what was the whole thing about Jacob going up the ladder, wrestling with God, coming back down and being renamed?
He became an affective spirit.
Exactly.
He ascended.
Exactly. So you see the point? See the
And when
lineage?
wrestling is like the 42
Exactly.
negative confessions
It's the,
as well.
it's getting out of the air. Exactly.
There you go, Charlotte.
So
Big bang boom.
when Tehatefi came to Ireland and established her place at Tara, because Tara was, I said Ireland was the centre of Atlantis, the learning centre.
Yeah.
Ireland was the learning centre and Tara was the centre
They
of
came
Ireland.
back to it.
Tara, Torah. The Torah was written by Moses, aka Akhenaten.
Yep.
Torah, Tara,
Oh my god.
you know.
It's all connected. It's
Okay.
inverted.
Yes. So,
Holistically
what did,
amazing.
among other things, what did Tamar Teha do on the hill of Tara? She married the High King of Ireland.
That's right, you did, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? Why did she marry the High King of Ireland?
Was
To
she
unify
reuniting
the blood.
family?
She was doing exactly
Yeah, to unify
what
the
her
family.
father had done.
Yeah.
Her father unified the two branches of the same family by marrying the daughter of
That's
Joseph.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep, that's
She
right.
came to Ireland with the law that her brother, Akhenaten,
Yeah.
had given her. That is said to be buried at Tara.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the stone of Jacob. Yeah?
Yeah.
The headstone, as we just described.
Mm-hmm.
And when she came here, she married the High King of Ireland for the same reason that her father had done it. Her father unified the two
In Egypt.
tribes or lions of the same family, which descended from King David, Thutmose III. He did that in Egypt. Teha Tamar, the sister of Akhenaten, did it in Ireland.
And the old bloodline as well. Like,
Yes. They were the original
Yeah, 'cause they
Atlanteans,
came
the
back.
Shemshu horde that went in and
That's it.
established the mounds
Yeah.
and all of that. So she came to Ireland, the home of her own ancestors, yeah, and reunified the same, did the same as her father by marrying the High King of Ireland. She unified the two branches
Yes,
of the same
exactly.
family.
Well, it's a healing.
Now, what is the symbol for that? The clattering.
I'm holding one in my hand right now.
The two hands represent one hand of each tribe
Family, yeah.
and the heart in the middle.
That's it.
And the thing is, they're from the same
Unifying
family.
the two. They're the same family.
So when you look at it from a point of view, it's the same band as well. They're
exactly,
from the
yeah,
same
yeah.
family.
It's the unification of the two.
Whoa!
And we talk about the unification of the two lands and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, Skota, aka Meritaten, who is the sister of Tutankhamun, the daughter of Akhenaten,
Yes.
and Tamar would be their aunt. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Now I mentioned Tutankhamun. Ankh, he is the only pharaoh, and you can go back through all the pharaohs, all the way back to through all their names.
Yeah.
And Tutankhaten was what his original name was. And he changed it to Tutankhamun, and
Yes.
I'll explain. So this is to do with the Aten and the Amun priesthood.
The corrupt priesthood, yes.
And remember I said the Aten has nothing to do with the sun.
Yes.
No.
In Egypt the sun was Ra. The Aten was nothing to do with the sun. Aten was describing the energy, the consciousness that came through the sun,
Yes.
that created the sun, that created the light of the sun, that created
It's creator
all.
consciousness.
That's what Aten was,
Yes.
not the sun.
Yeah. Creator consciousness.
No.
And he most certainly wasn't a sun worshipper.
No.
But this is where the fall is how this information
Yeah.
was so distorted.
That's the whole thing, yeah.
What was I saying there, Tom? I'm just after losing track of what I was saying.
We were talking about Tutankhamun.
Okay, sorry, yeah. So when you see the symbol of
the
the
clatter?
Aten,
Oh no.
Of the Aten,
Yeah.
of the Aten,
which is the sun with the arms and the hands.
you see the sun, you know, can you remember the symbol of the
Yes,
Aten?
yeah.
So you have the sun and then the ray is coming down, okay? And at the end of the ray there's a hand.
Yes.
At the end of each ray.
Yeah.
The
And-
little,
Exactly, and
Sometimes
each
they're just
hand
like a
is
curve.
clasping an ankh.
yeah, and they're holding ankhs, yes.
So what does ankh mean? Ankh means
Immortal.
eternal life.
Yeah, eternal life.
Immortal. Eternal life. Now, there was never a cross associated with Jesus, okay? That's all been created in more modern times,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when the Greeks and the Ptolemies and all that came into Egypt. Yeah? And then the Bible was written and all of this, okay? Rewritten, should I say,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the original, obviously, I've just explained what the original of the Bible is. It's all this ancient wisdom,
Yeah.
but it's been distorted.
Yeah.
So that's happened throughout time. It didn't happen at just one particular time. So we have, for example, the Council of Nicaea, or Nicaea, whatever way you
Yes.
want to pronounce it.
Nicaea's right.
Yeah, and there are a lot of, so there was the Old Testament, the New Testament. They were written at different times.
Yes.
They were distorted in different ways at different times by different, you know what I mean? And the same can be said, all religion descends from this original knowledge that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That the lineage that I'm talking about, we're preserving.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to say, and the reason for these most recent podcasts, is to literally tell the people of Ireland,
People of Ireland, listen.
they are the descendants of these people,
Yes.
of these wisdom keepers. The direct descent.
Yeah. Why? Yeah, and why it's been so targeted since that time.
Yeah. So,
Well, you're a land of saints and scholars, but that's kind of more distorted as well. But
Yeah.
it's still
Well,
an essential energy.
anyway,
I don't
as
know.
I said, there was no
Put it
cross
out
ever
there.
associated with Jesus.
No.
The original cross,
Is
the association is the ankh.
Yeah.
And even if you go to any or see any Coptic churches in Egypt today, it's an ankh you'll find on the top of it, not a cross. Okay, so the whole crucifixion thing and all of that.
We talked about this in the Proctor video of Ross Dow and the Book of Form for My Life.
Ross Dow and Stauros.
Yeah.
Is the Greek word for the cross. So there was no cross associated with Jesus. It's the ankh. Okay. If you can see where I'm going with this.
I can, and I'm thinking like
Jesus came from the house of David.
Ankh in his name, and
Jesus came from the house of David. Remember?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Jesus came from the house of David.
Yes.
Tutankhamun was the great grandchild of Thutmose III, who is King David.
And
The house of
Jesus
David.
was
So
descended.
Jesus could be
Tutankhaten. Remember what I told you Aten was?
Yeah.
Okay, it's about the creator.
Creator
Yes, the
consciousness.
light. through the
Tutankhaten
sun.
is the only pharaoh with Ankh in his name.
Yes, that's what I was just going to say.
The Ankh is where the
Yeah.
cross comes from.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they left it hiding in plain sight. basically.
Tutankhamun or Tutankhaten is the one between him and his father Akhenaten is the character of Jesus. Tutankhaten is the one who the character of Jesus was styled on.
Yeah.
In the Bible. Remember I told you?
Yes.
All of the 18th dynasty are characters in the Bible.
Yes.
But they changed the timelines.
And they
They
changed
changed
the
the
names.
names. They changed the
The
lineages.
symbols.
So the original cross is an ankh. I've just explained how it is personalised to Tutankhaten.
Yes.
He's the only one with ankh in his name.
And
Yes.
they're both like
Now,
Akka effective spirits,
How
right?
is he-
That is it.
They've both ascended.
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what runs through this whole lineage, is
The
they
son
know
of
this
God.
knowledge. I'm telling you, Irish people, you are the descendants of this. You know this knowledge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your
Calling all people, wake up, you know?
Yeah. It's in your DNA. Just
So,
do it.
between... Sorry, where was I? Just remind me where I was at the time. So
you were
I,
talking about Tut.
yeah, but I was...
And the only...
No, it's okay, don't worry.
Okay.
So what I was saying was, the cross came from the ankh.
From
Yeah.
the act.
Okay. So Jesus was also known as the Messiah
Yes.
and the Redeemer. So the Messiah, Redeemer. All pharaohs were known as the Messiah.
Really?
Yes, because in ancient Egypt, and you'll see it on the walls where they're being anointed. Yeah. So in order to become
Yes,
pharaoh,
with the
there was
Ankhs, right?
yes, you'll see
Yes,
that.
yes.
Yes,
I've seen
no,
that
you
before.
will. Yeah,
But that's
but
different
I'm
though.
just.
Yeah,
I was
you're
just
right.
going to say something different. All pharaohs had to go through this process of being anointed. Yeah, and they were anointed with the fat from the crocodile. In ancient Egypt, why were they anointed from the fat of the crocodile? Because it was meant. It was part of the ritual process that they would go through, like the cleansing, like all of this, like the taking the oaths. It's,
Yes.
But again, as I said, all this stuff became distorted, and they were doing rituals without knowing why they were doing them.
Yeah.
That's what's happened in this most modern time.
Yes.
With religions and stuff. People
Yeah.
do rituals and say things and they don't even know why they're doing it because they've lost the information behind it.
Yeah, it's disconnected.
Because that was purposely taken out. Just left with the ritual, but
Yes.
not know why you're doing it,
Yeah.
really. That's,
Very resonant
yeah. So,
for a lot of things.
so they were anointed with the oil of the crocodile. Now, that's another podcast in itself, but the fat, I mean, of the crocodile. The crocodile in ancient Egypt was known as Mesa.
Oh.
Yeah, Mesa.
Yeah.
And when a pharaoh became a pharaoh and he had become anointed with the oil, it showed in his hieroglyphic inscription, it would show 2 crocodiles to show that he had gone through this ritual. He was anointed with the pharaoh. And in Egypt, 1 crocodile is Mesa, but 2 is Messiah.
No way.
So every pharaoh was a Messiah. They were anointed
yes.
with the oil, the fat of the crocodile.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jesus was known as the Redeemer Messiah. So what's that about? Okay. Remember in, I think, one of the first podcast we did?
Mm-hmm.
Most recently.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I said the whole thing was about Akhenaten and how the multiple gods of the tribes and the nomes of Egypt and of the Amun priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
The Amun priesthood was keeping this whole multiple god thing going.
Yes, because it was very...
You worship
very
this god, you worship that god. They were giving them statues. The people, the general mass of people in ancient Egypt, by the time Akhenaten had come along, this knowledge had become so corrupted that the general mass of people lost the knowledge. They didn't know.
Yeah.
They were doing the rituals without knowing why they were doing them.
Yeah.
Okay? Only the priesthood.
Knew why.
Yes, exactly. They knew the information and they knew they were distorting it to the
They
people.
weren't going to give it back to
And
the
they weren't
people.
giving it to the people either.
Yeah, exactly.
So what they did was they created statues of all the individual gods, right? So the people became, in this way, this is how consciousness fell as well. Because instead of understanding the concept of one creative energy, which is everywhere and nowhere, all at the same now, okay? That's a very highly advanced concept. A one energy that's everywhere, everything and nothing and everywhere all at the same now is not something you can touch.
That's right.
It's not
Yes.
tangible, it's invisible.
Yes, yeah.
I'm just touching the table there if you're hearing noise, sorry. What the Amun priesthood did, and this is a way of lowering the consciousness, it didn't happen just one way. The fall didn't happen just one way. Okay? They did it in many ways. Creation of calendars, introduction of time, the illusion of time, loads of different ways.
Yeah.
And this is one of them. So, the people had become accustomed to being able to touch their God in the form of a statue. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So the people would go to the temple. The temple was the centre of life. It was a school. It was a hospital. It was everything to the people.
Yes, definitely.
It was where they tried. It was everything. Yeah. It was where they actually traded at this time, and therein lies the story. There's another story of Jesus from the tax collectors at the temple. That's right. The people could not, at the time of Akhenaten when he came along, and he knew that the Amun priesthood were corrupt. They had held this information from the people. They were using it against the people to keep them in slavery.
Yeah.
So he came along, shut down the temples, disbanded the Amun priesthood. But because the people were in lower consciousness and the people believed that the priesthood were these amazing people,
Yes.
right? They turned against Akhenaten.
Kind of like now.
It would be like if somebody tried to go into all of Christianity or Catholicism and say what I'm saying or what Akhenaten would be saying. They're not going to be swayed by him and agree him. They're going to turn on him, whoever it is that's saying it.
Yep.
So that's what happened to Akhenaten. The people were not able to understand the concept that Akhenaten was coming out with because it was too advanced. It was too. There was nothing they could touch.
Too high vibration.
The people were used to because this is their consciousness had been lowered by the priesthood. Yeah. By withholding this information. So the people, they started introducing statues, different gods.
Yes.
There was always different gods.
Yeah.
No, let me rephrase that. There was always the concept of different attributes of the one.
Yes.
Described in different ways.
Yeah. Exactly.
But you as a mystery school initiate, as a mystery school master, you knew that these were these concepts, these different ways of describing was all part of the one.
The aspects of the one, yeah.
So what the Amun priesthood did was withhold the knowledge that they were all part of the one and told them these are all different gods.
And you have to do this for this one and this for this one.
Yes.
Keep you in fear, do these rituals, don't question us.
Oh, when you go to have your baby, you have to pray to this one.
So over time, there was a god for everything. So over time, the people became that they had to be able to touch their god.
Yes.
In the form of a statue. They had to see it and touch it. Otherwise, they couldn't bring themselves to actually understand it.
The abstract concept of the consciousness.
The abstract concept. So when Akhenaten came along, okay, he basically disrupted the Amun priesthood. He disrupted the military because he wouldn't go to war. He refused to go to war. He was, peaceful. He wouldn't go to war. He was the poet. He said he wanted to write poetry and do his thing.
Yeah.
he like pharaohs were meant to go to war.
He wanted to be creative.
So he upset the military.
You're conscious, yeah.
He upset the priesthood. The whole thing.
Absolutely disrupting it all.
Yeah, so there was
Disrupting the corruption.
so they got rid of him basically, and I told you they didn't want him there in the first place because he was the daughter of Thea,
Yeah.
who was not a pure Egyptian.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was half Israelite, aka Irish
Yes,
tribe,
exactly.
aka Atlantean tribe.
Mm.
Now they didn't want this information getting brought back because they lose control then, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
So they're doing everything to keep it.
So that's why he's painted as the
Yes, exactly.
heretic
Yeah,
king.
Yeah.
Because they had swaying power of the people
Absolutely.
to sway.
And this
power
is the
of
reason
people.
why I'm talking about this now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm hearing it all over the internet,
Yes.
talking about how the symbols are all evil.
Yeah.
You know, the symbols that the Illuminati use and the elites use, they're all evil. The symbols aren't evil.
Yes, they're neutral.
The symbols are containing all this information that
Yeah,
I'm talking
exactly.
about.
Mm-hmm.
They've just used them
Yes.
to make you think they're evil.
Yes,
So that you won't be
exactly.
interested in them and you won't go near them. And then even if someone comes up to you and talks about it, you'll go, ooh, that's evil.
Yes.
Anyway, so
You must remember.
when Akhenaten came along,
Yeah.
even the people that he was trying to help turned against him
Yeah.
because they couldn't understand where he was coming from.
Yes.
So he had to go into exile. Yeah. Because his life, they were going to kill him like they did with his brother, Thutmose.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I told you?
Mm-hmm.
Thea, Akhenaten's mother, got him out of Luxor because
Yes.
the Amun priesthood had already killed his brother called Thutmose
When he was born.
when he was
Yeah.
only very young. No, he was
When
only
he
about
was-
18 or 19 when he
Alright.
was young.
Okay.
He was the heir.
He was supposed to be, yeah. But
His
Akhenaten
brother
was,
was-
yes, Thutmose was his older brother.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I was thinking like
They killed him.
The
The Amun
Moses
priest killed
basket
him.
story. Like
Yeah.
Because they didn't want his lineage carrying on.
Yeah.
Yes,
and
yeah.
Akhenaten was in
So when Akhenaten
Heliopolis.
came along, Thea, who was his mother,
Mm-hmm.
got him out of Luxor
Yeah.
and hid him up in Heliopolis,
He
where
was learning the
um,
priesthood.
Well, he was
the Irish Israelite branch of the family were.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, and that's why he was influenced like that.
In Sun
With her
City.
father, Joseph.
Yes.
Yes,
You see the connection? Jesus and Joseph.
I do. Yeah,
Akhenaten stayed with Joseph,
and then he called his
his
son.
grandfather.
Mhm.
Yeah. Joseph of the Technicolor Dreamcoat
With the 12 tribes.
The Ullum
of Israel.
was
Fadlan.
Akhenaten's grandfather.
The old
It was
Fadlan.
his mother's father. Remember?
His
Yoya?
mother's father, yeah.
I know. You will remember when you...
I will. You know, it's
Um,
absolutely.
okay, so Akhenaten came along and introduced this one concept, right? Which has nothing to do with sun worship. I've just explained that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So he had to go into exile. And between when Akhenaten came into power, let's say, at 9, they say 9 years old,
Not the number 9.
his name, I told you, was Tutankhaten.
Yes.
Now, remember the thing, his father had closed down the Amun,
Yes.
right? So, why does Tutankhamun change his name, Tutankhaten change his name to Tutankhamun? Amun, the name, the
hidden
thing his
one.
father was trying to get rid of.
The hidden one.
To like.
This is why. Now remember, I'm trying to give you how Tutankhamun is who Jesus was styling.
Yes. Yes. I'm still with you.
Okay, so what he did, what Tutankhamun did, was he said, "Okay, my father came along with the real knowledge, and tried to enlighten
Yes.
the people, and they turned against him because their consciousness is too low, too corrupted, and they need something solid, like a statue.
Yes.
So I let them. So what Tutankhamun did was he reopened the temples.
Yes. So I was going to say
He let all the
going for
Amun priesthood come back,
Yeah.
and he let the people worship whoever god they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give him free will.
Meanwhile,
Well, we already have that. but anyways.
retaining the knowledge of his own father. How do you know that? Because when you look at the throne of Tutankhamun,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
what's the symbol on his throne? The symbol of the sun, the rays, and the hand with the yank. That's the symbol of the Aten.
Mm-hmm.
So what did he do? He said, let the people have their statues and let them have their multiple gods, because I know they're not able to understand the concept of the one. He appeased everybody and continued to disseminate the knowledge of the one. He unified all the people. He became the Redeemer,
Very
And
the
he died-
Redeemer Messiah.
He died very young as well.
He did, yeah.
And
And he
so
wasn't
similar-
crucified either.
No, I didn't think so.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, he was an initiate, right?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, his father taught him. Yeah.
Absolutely, he was.
And his sisters as well.
Ankh was in his name.
Yeah.
Eternal life.
Yeah.
He was the father of an ascended master. The son of ascended master, sorry.
Yeah. And he
So
was
we
the
see
brother.
Meriatin.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
Down in
I was just going to
Scotia.
say about like his
And
sister.
remember
there.
I said Meriatin would be a Meriamun.
Yes.
Yes.
So going along with her brother Tutankhaten, changing his name to Tutankhamun, Meriatin, for the same reason, changed her name to Meriamun,
Yeah.
which becomes Miriam.
She's a biblical character too.
Yes, it says it's the sister of Moses.
Yes.
Oh my
Miriam, Meriatin is the daughter, not sister,
god. Yeah.
of Akhenaten. Okay?
Yeah.
Miriam, Mary Amon. Okay?
Yeah.
Which becomes Miriam. So, Tutankhamun was the Redeemer Messiah. You can see how all the biblical characters all existed within the same
Yeah.
lineage, which was split in two from the point of King David.
Right.
So this is why they came full circle back to Ireland, to reunify the two tribes
Yeah.
of the wisdom keepers of the same lineage.
Of Atlantis.
Because it's this whole thing, religion, Israelites, I don't want to get political,
No.
but it's this whole thing that has created so much
Division.
stuff in the world.
Just makes me think of isn't the new Israelites of Tara as well in like the 19th?
Oh yeah, digging for the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm like,
I think that was the late
really
18.
understand it now.
And is it not interesting that they were doing it at the time of the Irish rebellion?
Cultural
That was
revival.
around
That was
the late
1920s.
1800s. Yeah.
his age. I think
1918.
So yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting, you
1918,
I
know.
think it was that.
Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up for
But
that.
I think that's pretty. Whoa, pretty.
Brilliant. Everyone, get
A
your
lot
mind
of-
around
So I
that.
think the last 3 podcasts we did.
Thank you for that information. It's very.
Yeah, thank you, Antoinette.
You're welcome. And I think the last 3 the last 3
Yeah,
that we've done,
the recent 3 we just did.
you know, for people who are listening, if you listen to the 3 of them together, they kind of run into each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one part of each other. It's not
Yeah.
one long. It's 3 parts of kind of almost the same podcast. So anyway, look, I think we'll wind it up there.
Yeah, sure.
And thank you all for listening. And
Thank
I'll be
you.
back soon again.
Yep.
And for now, lots of love.
Goodbye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.